Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to another Overwatch Scrim. We've got an exciting match for you today. We've got the New England Whalers versus Magna Ventus. As always, I am Abacus, and with me is my co-caster, Setka.
How's it going, everyone? We got a nice 4.4K scrim here coming out top open team. So going down on the blue, we have the New England Whalers led by Honeybadger, BoostedEGirl, Zoros, Sylph, Mozser, and LucidScience. And in the red, we have Magna Ventus with Aduuuh, Offtank, who plays Hitscan, by the way, Noro, Cyrus, HKeyBroke, and Navjeet. And we're going to be going on to Junkertown here.
I'm looking forward to seeing Magna Ventus. We've scrimmed them once before, and if I recall, they won their previous match that we scrimmed, and they showed a lot of versatility in the heroes and comps they chose to play. So I'm excited to see them again to see if they can maintain that versatility going into this next match.
Yeah, and specifically having someone who called himself a hit scan player in this 3-3 meta is very rare, but on the maps you see it. You see hit scan. Junkertown is one of them because it's just so wide open that you can realistically run some snipers on this first point here. So I'm really excited to hopefully see a Widowmaker or a McCree come out here.
Yep, and I don't believe we've ever seen the New England Whalers play before. I like their name, though. It definitely calls to mind a team that knows what they're doing. So we're going to have to see how they end up playing. It looks like the New England Whalers are starting off on defense, and Magna Ventus is going to be on offense for this first push. As always, the first casualty of a Junkertown match is the poor motorcycle. Do you think they're
I
gonna...
don't know why everyone hates that motorcycle. It looks very nice.
You don't get an advantage anymore. Back when this map first came out, Torbjorn's turret could still build ultimate, so people would just let the turret destroy it, and then Torb could start with ult. Speaking of starting, I'm seeing a lot of Widowmakers and Hanzos and DPS on both teams.
Yeah, we actually have a double sniper with a Sombra for the New England defense here. So, it's unconventional for sure, but it definitely could work if you find the right hack targets versus a bunker without a bastion coming on here. So two very unconventional compositions starting off right now.
I was wondering if Navjeet was just going for that Roadhog hook and then was going to switch to a different character, but it looks like he's actually sticking with it. And the payload pushing effortlessly since the defense has chosen to block themselves off in this high ground up there. They're going to make it all the way to the bridge.
Yeah, trades coming out here, but the key thing is that New England has lost the Widowmaker to a really good combination by Noro, who sucked them in and gave Offtank that line of sight. So now they were able to res Offtank, who lost that duel. So pushing into this, not only do they have a number advantage, but they still have their Mercy to get res. And as BoostedEGirl is going to fall, it's going to be hard to stabilize here for New England.
Yeah, the defense is not having an easy time at all on this first point, and Magna Ventus is pretty much effortlessly pushing through, and I don't think there's even going to be any sort of defense to block this first point take. They're going to get there in time to respawn, but so many of their characters are long range that they're going to pretty much give up that first point in a very commanding time bank for Magna Ventus.
And they've just been using that Orisa pull combination so well to a disgusting degree. They're finding kills when it's on cooldown. So, again, finding Zoros there, now Offtank has so much more room to find these aggressive angles to try and find that pick. And just now is New England actually getting ultimates to use. Honeybadger is going to have this EMP available, so maybe you can find Noro and stop these kills, but it won't matter because
Navjeet just did an amazing flank behind the enemy, picking off the Zenyatta. Didn't even have to use ultimate to give his team just the opportunity to break through that defense. They had no idea he was back there. And look at how much space he... And then Mercy getting a resurrection off on Offtank, the Widowmaker. So unless this Sombra... I assume this Sombra is going to try to escape and save ult for another time.
It looks like they're going to pop Dragon out of spawn and try and switch to more traditional combination. And on the bright side for Magna Ventus, if their Overwatch queries do not work out, they can start a sanitary business because they are mopping the floors right now.
Oh no, poor Sombra getting taken out by Hanzo in the back line. Gonna have to wait for her to respawn as this payload, which has pretty much not stopped since the beginning of the match, continues on its merry way down to the final point. Though at the moment, New England does have the ultimate advantage with 3 ults to just Navjeet's on Magna Ventus.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to use ultimates when you're in the spawn room, though. The res coming out, but Sylph having to pay for his life right now, and there is so much momentum on the side of Magna Ventus here.
Yeah, they're just coasting. They haven't had any trouble, but with this EMP, the New England Whalers get their first real opportunity to contest, but nobody really is. I guess, okay, Navjeet and Aduuuh both went down, so I guess they got some value out of that EMP. I'm not sure they got as much as they would have liked, though they did stop the point.
Yeah, I mean, it took Honeybadger a bit of time to get that EMP, but once you can break those Orisa bunker compositions, it becomes so much more harder to actually get back to the point, as HKeyBroke right now in an awkward spot where he can't really return to his team, but no one can really push him, and it looks like they're actually sticking on this, so they're going to try and go for another attack with this Orisa. I can't blame them having 5 ultimates online to use.
Yeah, this next point is going to be pretty intense, depending on how many ultimates they choose to use. They definitely have the items in the bank for them to get something really happening. We're going to start things off with a very long-range Orisa ultimate to give everybody a damage boost. Navjeet dropping in there with his Roadhog ult, but is countered, at least partially, by Mozser's Zenyatta to keep Orisa alive. But that is going to give the payload its opportunity to start moving again, as they push into this final point.
And Honeybadger actually switched off the Widowmaker to the Briggs. Now Zoros has so many more sight lines to take. He's going to actually fall to Cyrus's bomb, though. So this is looking bad for the New England Whalers. They need to find stabilization.
Yeah, this is not a good situation for them at the moment. HKeyBroke, if he can get out alive, he can continue giving those zoning arrows. Managed to demech D.Va, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, D.Va was able to get out with ultimate too. So BoostedEGirl is in the best position to try and give her team some time to respawn, if that's what she ends up doing. And here we go. D.Va ultimate out. Not really to any particular effect, and she's going to lose that mech relatively quickly. But it did give her team the time to respawn, and they are not going to take the point just yet.
Yeah, Zoros actually managed to find 3 kills and still hunting for more, so I think New England Whalers have finally been able to get us good stabilization.
Yeah, we have the Widowmaker fight going on. Zoros finally wins that one. Zoros has been having a difficult time. Offtank and HKeyBroke have been mostly counter-sniping her, though in that particular case, you're right. She managed to get 3 kills and pretty much single-handedly stopped that point. So the offense is going to have to reset now. They are at an ultimate disadvantage, though Hanzo is a great ult to have in this particular point. As I say,
gonna shoot through the wall and find some picks, because they're actually trying to switch over to a dive goods composition, and they're gonna find Mozser on the Zen. And yeah, they are rushing in here because without that Zen to provide the Discord, that entry onto the point becomes so much more easier.
Yeah, so they kicked things into second gear, not only with Lucio, but also to take advantage of that missing Zenyatta, who they may or may not know has trans. And they're going to start off by getting a kill on LucidScience, and they're not giving up this push anytime soon. New England Whalers not wanting things to give up that easily. Zenyatta is back in the fight with Transcendence in his back pocket. Both teams are on the point, and this could go either way at the moment, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, but LucidScience is just coming back from the spawn, and they're being able to push on here, so the New England Whalers doing a good job of keeping that fight up despite losing Mozser in the very early hours.
Yeah, Aduuuh managed to finish off Honeybadger, which could actually become effective because she's only at 40%, or I'm sorry, 70% ult, and she could definitely use to build up that ultimate charge right now instead of respawning. But actually, the New England Whalers are pushing very far forward. They wanted to take as much time off the clock as possible, and they managed to get out without really being punished for it either.
Yeah, and they themselves actually switched over to the Winston goats as well, so we have a dive matchup coming on here. And playing around this fidget spinner, actually, Cyrus gonna get demeched in the very beginning of this fight. That is not what you want to see if you're Magna Ventus here.
Yeah, absolutely not. Noro is still in there with his ultimate ready, and HKeyBroke is actually popping the rally to give everybody some more health so that they can keep this push going. And it looks like despite that, they're going to keep this going. They've got an ultimate, they got a Lucio ultimate, and they sent off their Zarya Graviton, but they weren't able to get any kills out of it. Zoros actually finishing off HKeyBroke. Offtank is going to fall as well.
Yeah, that's a very questionable grab there, because before that grab was invested, even though you lost that fight, Magna Ventus was in a good position to gain the ultimate economy, because you saw a lot of ults being popped, but now after you invest that grab, you lose that advantage. So that might have been a communication error coming out of Magna Ventus. And pushing into this here, it's kind of up to Noro to find something with that Primal Rage, and it definitely can be a deadly tool, but with how coordinated we've seen the New England Whalers be, they might be able to easily punish him.
He's been holding on to this Primal Rage for a very long time. But he's going to have it, like you mentioned, for this last push, though I assume he's going to want to wait until Mozser's Transcendence wears off, managing to stay alive for the time being. And this may be their last push of the game, so hopefully they get something out of it more than they got out of Aduuuh's Transcendence.
Yeah, they actually pressured Aduuuh down. He had to pop Transcendence just to stay alive. So now Zoros' grab is going to find so much more value. And they have to use beat just to get entry. This grab is going to be disgusting unless you hit the wall with it.
Oh no.
Magna Ventus has a massive entry here. They get the grab out. They find Mozser. They could be able to finish this map.
And here he goes. Noro coming in with his Primal Rage to try and score up some space for his team, knocking a lot of players down, not managing to get any kills out of it, not even Honeybadger, who managed to stay alive, and that's 2 falling for the offense. Things are not looking good for Magna Ventus right now. Cyrus getting the only real kill on the defense with Zoros. This push is absolutely not over yet, but overtime is ticking away, and this defense looks pretty unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, having that big advantage, so trying to clean out this cart, and Mozser only on is staying back, so it's going to be hard to overheal them. Offtank has to go just to try and stop him, so that's one that's person on the card, as Xirius is going to die in the Baby Diva, and that was a great last point hold from the Whalers right there. 5.5 minutes, and they did not cap fully Junkertown, so
yeah,
really great last effort there.
That was absolutely a commanding hold. So it looks like both teams are going to switch sides now. It is the New England Whalers' opportunity to try and push through this map, see if they can make it to 91.77 meters, which was the distance that the Magna Ventus were able to make on their turn. And all things considered, I feel like both teams did a relatively good job. I mean, we look, Magna Ventus just plowed their way through the first 2 points. They basically didn't stop. But then the New England Whalers had a very commanding, almost 6-minute defense on that final point. The cart barely moved at all.
And that really shows you how much momentum can be impactful in Overwatch, because the second you break all of that space made by those nasty pull hook combinations and Offtank flanking everyone, Widowmaker, once you break all that away and you can actually get a good fight on top of the cart, then it becomes hard to regain any momentum. And now a little bit of a mid-round switch as Omiske finally is able to log on. So Omiske cool, taking Navjeet's place here. Still, Navjeet doing a very good job on that Roadhog. So pushing in now, I wonder what they're going to be trying to run on this attack.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see what the attack ends up doing, because they can sometimes punk us out with some unusual comps that switch the millisecond before the round actually starts. But two members haven't even chosen yet. We're still waiting to see what Sylph ends up with. A Mercy. Interesting.
Yeah, look, actually running a very similar comp. Not the exact same comp that Magna Ventus run on the attack, so trying to see if they can replicate their success in these first 2 points here. Zoros holding that on top of this roof, trying to find Offtank and his counterpart, Widowmaker. Yeah,
this time the Offtank Roadhog is sticking more on the payload, which is going to help move the payload just due to the massive amounts of players on it. The defense, likewise, have decided to drop down from the first point, from the second floor a lot quicker, and they're going to lose their Offtank for that, as this payload is indeed pushing very quickly, almost as quickly as when it was Magna Ventus's turn on offense.
Yeah, losing that Roadhog, now you can actually push into them safely. You don't have to worry about it. His scrap gun devastating you. And now Honeybadger actually managing to get a side angle here, so splitting the entire attention of Magna Ventus, and a fairly early dragon gonna actually kill LucidScience on the cart. So that is the Orisa gone for the Whalers.
So important. Yeah, no, losing the Orisa on this push is definitely not a good thing, because the opposing Orisa is going to have these barriers for free. Though it does look like Mercy was able to get the res off at the cost of her life. So Orisa is going to stay for just a little bit longer before once again falling, and I think that's going to spell the end for this particular push.
Yeah, Zoros going to find his trade onto his counterpart on Offtank, but I really want to highlight the work Offtank's doing here, because this comp is designed around this Widowmaker. It is make space on the cart, draw all the attention away from your Widowmaker, and hope she kills literally everything. That's what Offtank's been doing. He's been finding 2-3 kills every single fight, so definitely doing his job and more some. And now, as the Widowmaker sightlines are in line, let's see if he can find a cheeky little flank kill here.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as you mentioned, the offense is ready to go. They're going in for another push. They're going basically in as a whole team. I don't see any flankers. They're just completely pushing in. We have an Orisa shield, or we have an Orisa ult for the defense, and we have a zoning ult with D.Va, but it's not working. The offense is managing to get all of the kills with the exception of HKeyBroke filling off LucidScience.
And that's actually the most important kill in that Orisa, because that's all of your shielding. They're going to get the resin, but enough time for 2 trades to come out. So these cleanup kills are coming in, but it's made enough time, and I think that Magna Ventus has enough for a last-second contest here.
And I think Sylph believes so too, which is why Sylph as Mercy decided to ult and give her team an advantage on what seems to be an already pretty commanding push. I can't imagine that despite Aduuuh trying to spare a few seconds, this payload is going to reach the first checkpoint, not as quickly as when Magna Ventus was pushing, but still quickly nonetheless. 4 minutes is a pretty healthy time bank.
Yeah, HKeyBroke are going to actually force the res out on Sylph, as we see Magna Ventus switch over to the dive 3-3, so trying to play this cart a bit more aggressively with this composition here. You realize we really can't outplay their snipers, but we can outplay their cart possession, but Offtank getting picked there is really not what you want. So now these dragons come out, it looks like the Whalers might actually manage to get a similar time bank on the second point, as these kills coming in just stagger enough where you can't really find a good fight here.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a good job of killing the defense one by one, which is like a free stagger that makes it really difficult for the defense to create a unified front. And to that effect, they're all going to drop off except for poor HKeyBroke, which I can imagine is not going to last long. And as they wait for him to respawn, the offense is just pushing through this point, no questions asked, no trouble. I'm not even sure if the defense is going to have a chance to contest this second point.
They're actually going to go ahead and give that up, and HKeyBroke their stay on the Hanzo, try and build an ultimate, and then died late. So having to switch to the Brig, now we're in the full Winston 3-3 composition here. So this is a fight that you really need to win. You need to win fast if you're Magna Ventus, because if you lose this fight, you know, with how much push is there, the cart only has to go 91 meters, which with how long and spread out Junkertown is, you lose one fight and that could really be it.
Yeah,
it's like this aggression.
It is up to Magna Ventus to do just as well as the New England Whalers did defending this final point right here. Speaking of which, the first fight is going to happen right now. The defense stopping the point a little bit, but looks like for the most part they're going to try to escape with their lives after losing HKeyBroke on Brigitte, but Sylph, the Lucio for the defenders, is down, which gives an equalizing kill. This push might not be over yet.
Yeah, for the Whalers, it definitely is going to allow them to keep going. So HKeyBroke not staying alive, and it shows how that important that Brig is. But it's not over if you're Magna Ventus. Noro has his Primal Rage. Aduuuh's going to have his Trance, and Offtank is going to be able to farm that Graphier very shortly. So this is a fight that you will most likely win, just out of ultimate advantage alone.
Yeah, so the pressure is on them to make use of their ultimate advantage to stop this payload, which has not stopped yet. It's just been cruising around this corner, no questions asked. And so we have the defense. They're pushing in. They're ready. They don't want to give this up. Noro finally popping that Primal Rage to try to keep everybody away from the point. As Zenyatta Transcendence keeping his team alive. And the ultimate advantage is now swinged to New England at this point after this Diva ult.
Yeah, it's a good grab out of Magna Ventus, but everyone's dead, so they can't follow up, as Zoros just cleans up on this Zarya, finding 4, and LucidScience picking off the 5th. So now Cyrus needs to stall for a kill, but he actually gets booped off the cart, so HKeyBroke now on this Hammond, doing the best he can to try and stall.
These staggers are coming out right when you need them, but and oh my gosh, one more. If they can just finish off this Winston, the entire map will go the way of the New England Whalers, and it will. That was very well done on both teams' part, but I think that the New England Whalers they deserved that map. They did a really good job with consistency, whereas Magna Ventus did really good on the first 2 points and then had trouble on the second. These guys were pretty standard progress for all 3 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, overall, that just shows you how offensive favored Junkertown can be, because we saw these teams blaze through most of the map, and then by the time you decide to switch off of your unconventional defense, it's too late, because the Whalers are knocking at your door. You know, like the music is playing, you're getting nervous, rushing to the cart, so you don't have time to build those ultimate synergies that you really need to win those fights in advance. So the Whalers taking all the space they really wanted to there. overall, though, this has potential to be a very competitive series.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see what ends up happening on the next map. I mean, Junkertown is a very aggressive map in general. It encourages teams to really push in there and try and make as much space for their team as they can. And it looks like the next map is going to be Nepal, which actually has a similar reputation in my book. People definitely like pushing on Nepal, and both teams have shown that they are not afraid to do so.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait here as Cyrus needs to restart his computer. And heading to Nepal, I think this is really going to be more telling of these teams' play styles because, again, Junkertown is so wide open that you have no choice but to push up and take that space because you need to do that. Otherwise, there are going to be so many fights for every single point. But Nepal, it is a map that can show you what a team is thinking philosophy wise behind why and how they play Overwatch, because a team can play the point and try and be a controlling scrappy team, but a team could also be super aggressive and try and find those kills while you're in your spawn doors. And so I really want to see what both teams elect to do once they have control of the point to show what the tempo for the rest of this match is going to end up being.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also looking forward to see what strategies they end up implementing, because Nepal is indeed a map that rewards a lot of different playstyles. And on that note, it does feel like Magna Ventus was a lot more willing to change up their comps. On the previous map, we saw them constantly shuffling their rosters around and being like, all right, we're going to try this, we're going to try that. Whereas the New England Whalers tended to like running the same comp the entire match. Now, obviously that worked out for them, and when you win a match, there isn't a lot of reason to be shuffling your comp around. So it could just be that Magna Ventus had to shuffle their comp around more because they hadn't found something that worked. But on a map like Nepal, where you're going to have two different opportunities, assuming it goes to best of three, where you do need to consistently change up your comp. I'm wondering if the New England Whalers are going to honor that, or if they're going to continue just playing the same comp the entire match.
Well, I will say this, that, when New England Whalers there, they didn't really need to change on their offense. I mean, what they ran worked, and they never really lost that momentum to even have time to switch. So I don't really know if that was a telltale sign that this team only can run that double sniper bunker composition. And again, Nepal is one of those maps where you don't have to run the 3-3 off the start there. Though, as much as weird as it is to say, right, I actually love to see the Reinhardt mirror matchup, and I'm kind of hoping we see a little bit of that as we push into here as Cyrus's computer takes an eternity and a half to restart,
Yeah.
but it happens.
Yeah, I absolutely would love to see two Reinhardts face off on Nepal. I'm hoping to see a lot of Lucio's myself. Lucio is my favorite character to play on Nepal because two of the maps have a lot of death pits that you can boop people into. He's a pretty commanding character for making space on this particular map. So we're gonna have to see what they end up choosing to run.
I've lost many a ladder game falling into that giant pit on Sanctum, so hopefully don't get any PTSD as we will head back into the map. And it looks like we might be putting Navjeet back in for Cyrus. So Navjeet doing the ultimate flex, having to go from playing Offtank to I guess back to the Offtank that Cyrus is playing, so maybe.
Yeah, maybe he lucked out. And yeah, kudos to them for having a substitute ready, because that has been very useful in letting us get this scrim working and being prepared for emergencies such as this one. So kudos to Magna Ventus for being prepared, in my opinion.
Yep.
As we wait, I was wondering, regarding this previous map, what do you think about the fact that on the final point, in a lot of those fights, Magna Ventus had the ultimate advantage, but the New England Whalers were able to win the team fight anyway. I noticed in a lot of situations it felt like Magna Ventus had more of an ultimate advantage, and then it didn't seem to translate into actual results.
When you also look at that, it's kind of hard to tell because you're not running mirror matchups. You're not really running conventional comps at all. And so when you're running that double sniper bunker compositions, you don't really have any ultimate synergies to work into. Versus when you're running the 3-3, that entire comp works because of how well Graviton, Surge, and Shatter compare with each other and how you can combo them with your support ultimates. So, overall, it's really hard to get a good grasp of like what a team's good at, what a team's bad at when they're running those unconventional compositions. And Yeah, and Navjeet is coming back in, so we should be heading to Nepal here very fast.
All right, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Navjeet again. He did a very good job on his offensive round on Junkertown, so I'm always happy to see him back in the match. Also, he's got a Hangzhou Spark avatar, and I like the Hangzhou Spark. So no complaints here from me as we get this round on Nepal started. Looks like it's going to be Nepal Shrine is the first of the 3 maps we're going to end up playing.
Yeah, I mean, Hangzhou having the colors that look the most like Gogurt, so can't really complain about that. And we head over to my favorite map in the entire game, Shrine, purely because of the fact that you can run the Wrecking Ball and absolutely destroy. And I doubt we see it, but I asked for Widowmaker and we got it, so maybe I can luck out here and get it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely wouldn't complain. Hopefully we can see some Wrecking Ball on this map. Any character that normally involves knocking people into pits is my favorite. And actually, it does look like both teams at the moment, we'll have to see if they stick with it, but I'm seeing 2 Wrecking Balls on the field, one for each team at the moment.
I'm a very happy man, and with a lot of leaks and rumors coming around, Blizzard might be changing the meta directly to disallow running more than 2 of a character. So this could be these teams deciding to try and get on that trend early and run these unconventional comps, or it could just be they favor them. And as we run into this, we see a triple DPS pharmacy on the side of Magna Ventus versus a 2-2-2.
Oh, wow.
The Whalers and Honeybadger falling early, and Sombra needs to stay alive that mid-fight to charge that EMP, so Magna Ventus taking a commanding 3-person lead on this first fight.
Yeah, wow, the New England Whalers, they fell like tissue paper. And I think I think part of it was just they were resetting. They realized we lost the Sombra, that she was a very important part of this upcoming push. So they're just going to move back, try not to give that much ultimate, and push in and make up for it with a commanding recapture.
And losing that point, they actually switch off of their Hammond Zarya and decide to go to the dive duo of Winston and D.Va to make more space. It's working out as Navjeet on the Tracer are going to fall early in this fight, so the Whalers are actually in a good position to take this back very early here.
Yeah, and here they go. They want to take it back. They don't want to lose much time at all, and they're going to push in. They're not going to encounter much resistance. Honestly, they've got the Pharah Mercy to deal with, but other than that, unless this Pharah is going to ult, not going to survive that long, is going to collapse to pieces. All right.
Yeah, we'll find 2 in the short time they were alive, and Aduuuh taking a nap in the back. I think this fight's gonna end up going the way of Magna Ventus.
Wow, that was a pretty commanding hold by Magna Ventus. I thought that was I didn't think things were going to go so well for them, but they pulled off the point, they let the enemy push onto the point, and then they swooped down on top of them. That was a pretty interesting use of the playing field by Magna Ventus, and now the New England Whalers sent back to spawn, just as quickly respawning all together, and they're going to try to get something happening again.
I mean, a lot of this is off of HKeyBroke's Pharah. He's doing so much damage, and managed to fly high enough to avoid the EMP, so he's still going to be able to be a constant threat. That's an entire fight.
Oh my gosh, 2 Sombra ultimates coming out, one after the other. Kills going off on either side, but it looks like the advantage is still going to go the way of the defense for this particular one. Even though the offense got more kills faster, they just aren't able to push in on this. Though, just as I say that, yeah,
I mean,
wow, Zoros landing 2 kills, and yeah, so I stand corrected. Turns out the offense knew what they were doing and is going to be able to push in and finally get some points capture with 94% on the opposing team.
And that 94% may look like a lot, but when you realize what Magna Ventus has to do now, which is completely switch all of their composition up, they're going to be so far down ultimate economy that it's going to take 50-60% for them to even get a fight they can realistically win.
Especially when yeah, you're right. They have no ultimate percent whatsoever. Part of that is I think they just did a bunch of character switching. But they're basically in the same position the New England Whalers were earlier, which is where they now have to push in with disadvantage and take the point back or die trying.
And LucidScience actually popping the Primal Rage here, not going to find what he needs, but going to throw a dud to a situation where he cannot survive. So going to take the one-man advantage here as it slowly climbs in their favor.
Yeah, as both supports go down, That's exactly what the doctor ordered for the New England Whalers. The survivors are sent running. They're not going to get particularly far, and that is a pretty commanding success considering they didn't even use that many ultimates. They've got 3 on the books with Honeybadger coming up in the next few seconds probably.
And it's been a long time since I've seen a Nano McCree, the Electric Cowboy as it was dubbed, so I would love it for nostalgia's sake just to see, just to see one spicy cowboy coming up here. And LucidScience actually going to manage to fall early. A big purple nade coming out from Mozser, and they need to capitalize on this before it wears off, otherwise it could be a bad time.
Oh, and they're absolutely trying to. That McCree trying to use a zoning oat to scare off the opponents kind of worked for a little bit, but didn't work long enough. D.Va actually finishing off Navjeet with a very interesting D.Va bomb all the way off into the sides, and with just a couple of ticks left for them to retake the point in the 11th hour, 86% to 94%. But the defense, I guess they're now the defense, is not interested in giving this point up right away. We have LucidScience coming out with the ultimate, not getting much value out of it, other than Omiske's death.
There is a Winston D.Va on the field here for the Whalers, and actually managed to do a lot of good job. Aduuuh having pop trains to stay alive, so the Whalers can make a miracle comeback here. The LucidScience falling may be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, no, they had a very... They tried their best, and they can't feel bad about that. Final Annonade coming out, give them a bit of a scare. Couple last-second contests, but nobody's really in the position to contest for reals on this, and that point is going to go the way of Magna Ventus. They're going to get the first point on the scoreboard here in Nepal.
Overall, though, that was a very, very close map, and once one team had a major ultimate advantage, they usually end up winning those fights. So now, as we head over to Sanctum, I wonder if we're gonna see the Winston 3-3 off the bat, or if we might try and put a Arista on the field as Cyrus is back in. So Navjeet with his patent pending sub out mid round style is going to be brought back out for Cyrus to come in.
Well, he certainly did a good job on the previous map. I guess he was the first one to fall as Tracer, but he also managed to pick off that McCree with his D.Va ult to kind of clear the space for his team to move in. So I wouldn't be too sad with my performance if I were Navjeet. Also, there's a pretty good chance we're going to see him again the way these are going. And so here we go. Already starting off the next round. Looks like we've just got mirror goats, if I'm not mistaken, for both teams.
Yeah, mirrored 3-3 with the Winston coming in here. And the key thing is that Noro is able to take this staircase, so Magna Ventus gets to play out of the aggressive advantage. LucidScience has to use his cooldown just to get in there, and so much damage coming out from Noro right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Omiske almost getting a boop into the pit, was not able to succeed at doing that. And health-wise, oh no, Offtank fell! That's
on that Xirius, so it's a lot of the damage gone from here, and all these kills going to go the way of the Whalers simply because they have a Zarya to actually deal damage.
Yeah, a mirror 3-3 team fight like that, the first kill is going to cause the opposing team to fall like a house of cards, unless they're the San Francisco Shock, which for some reason has a higher percentage of winning when they are the first team to lose someone. But when they're not on the field, it's generally really bad if the first thing that happens is you lose your Zarya.
Yeah, the Shock kind of break all logic, and HKeyBroke gets a little bit too aggressive, gonna fall. So now, with that stagger kill, the Magna Ventus has to push all the way back to their spawn, and allow that percentage to just tick up. Not only is their cap percentage, but so is their ultimate percentage. They're gonna have 6 ultimates online for this fight, with just a dub with a Transcendence to try and negate all of it.
This is incredibly commanding at the moment. I'm not sure what I would try at this point other than pushing in there, though Offtank is going to have Zarya ult very soon and might be able to get something to happen with that as he tries to burn through these shields. But we have an ulting Winston on the field to try and make things scary, and there's so many pits on the map right now.
Oh my god, HKeyBroke
no.
gets thrown into the well, so it's going to be even here, but the key thing was that Aduuuh had to use strength to stay alive. The grab coming up, there's no real follow-up on it, and Honeybadger throws Offtank into that pit, so I think the Whalers are going to take this fight once again.
Oh, they used so many ultimates, but nothing came of it. Oh, that's terrible. And yeah, the percentage point's going to continue ticking up for the New England Whalers. They didn't even need to use that many ults. They still have 3 online.
I wonder if they had to, fish the bodies out of that pit, because that was 4 in one fight, so surely they start piling up wherever that bottomless pit ends.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't want to be one of the cleaners on Nepal, especially considering all the electrical damage from these Winston Tesla cannons. As another push happening up here on the second floor. Neither team managing to gain much of an advantage. LucidScience going relatively low down, but there was a Transcendence ready to keep everybody alive through this Zarya ult. Though they did use both support ultimates in that particular fight, but that does seem to work out for them. And with this being possibly the last fight at 98%, Magna Ventus is having trouble even reaching the point.
I mean, it's so spread out, but the Whalers actually managing to take all these kills on the side. That being said, they managed to boot Honeybadger off, so they're able to flip this point from the side, but I don't see them controlling it much longer.
Yeah, no, congrats to them for taking the point, but they definitely were not in any sort of position to hold the point. And with overtime ticking down, Hammond is going to get there in time to cause a contest, but I don't know how much he's going to...
Zoros off, so this could be a miracle play if Noro can get back to this point.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Here they all come. Magna Ventus isn't over yet. Noro may have fallen, but he did his job, giving time for the rest of the team to show up. There's still a pretty commanding defense here, but the numerical advantage goes to Magna Ventus at the moment, along with Omiske's sound barrier to keep everybody alive. Both these teams fighting tooth and nail.
Using that beat just to keep them alive, and Cyrus is so close to the Diva Bomb. It's not going to be enough, though. Noro is back on the Hammond. So LucidScience falls where the beat can go off, and the bomb actually can negate all of the Hammond, all of the Lucio beats. So this could be possible here for Magna Ventus. This would be a miracle take back.
Yeah, this could absolutely go either way. I'm getting flashbacks to when the Shanghai Dragons fought the Boston Uprising on this exact point and had an incredible hold like this.
Yeah, Mozser finding 2 quick kills. They're going to be putting a nail in that. To say that, Noro comes out with his bomb, and pyrotechnics all around us. These explosives finding a massive amount of value. Cyrus is back now with the Diva, and I think we might finally see this in, although to say that HKeyBroke comes back in with his Doofus to zone them all off.
I'm too afraid to spectate any specific player because everything's going every which way. I'm just keeping the camera on the point as it looks like, oh, one last touch from Magna Ventus' Tracer, but after an incredible overtime, the New England Whalers are going to actually take that point and equalize this series on Nepal. This map is not over yet, but oh my gosh, what a crazy overtime we just witnessed.
Yeah, that was a really intense stall, and I want to actually highlight a play that happened before that stall came out where we saw the Whalers use both their support ultimates, and usually stacking your support ultimates is a bad idea. But what happened there was that Mozser had to use his Transcendence to survive Offtank's grab, and then Cyrus threw his bomb in after it wore off. So Slythe actually had to use his beat to keep them alive. So good job there by the Whalers, recognizing that they had to stack their support ultimates. So now as we push into this, we see Magna Ventus not playing any games, going with Old Reliable with the Reinhardt 3-3, and interesting, actually a 2-2-2 composition with a dive pharmacy from the Whalers. So they need to find a pick here early, because with that Reinhardt, Magna Ventus is going to be able to really control this point.
That is true, but the New England Whalers are currently controlling the positioning with all of Magna Ventus mushed into this little room here and a Pharah hovering around outside trying to keep things difficult. But they are going to push in, actually get the first opportunity to take the point, but they are not going to succeed. Oh my gosh, it's a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Magna Ventus was going to take that for sure, and then I don't know where all that flood came from, but we've seen 2 very good Pharahs here, with HKeyBroke showing in Shrine, and Honeybadger just dominating, actually managed to farm a barrage before the point unlocked, and in response, HKeyBroke, oh, he's on the Genji for a second, going back over to the Brigitte, so forcing him to switch over to that Winston to provide a bit more long-range damage to try and pressure this Pharah down here, but HKeyBroke hitting so many people at once, all this damage is going to be hard to heal up.
And here we go, the Pharah ult coming out, immediately getting slept. Does manage to escape with her life. I spoke too soon. R.I.P. Pharah.
Oh, I thought HKeyBroke was, Honeybadger was going to get out of there from that sleep. So, an even trade coming out of both these teams. But the key factor is that Noro died first. So, LucidScience being able to do so much more damage on this Winston. All these kills going the way of the Whalers.
Yeah, and here they come. The Whalers defense continuing to be unflappable on this particular point. They're going to just continue to hold up here. There's a couple stragglers trying to stay alive. Not sure if they're going to be able to.
Oh, that's dirty. Oh, that's so dirty. They managed to demech Xirius. He used his self-destruct just to get another mech back, and they kill him off, but before he can remech. They've traded with Mozser, though, so this fight actually could be going the way of Magna Ventus. I spoke a bit too soon. Sply's going to get that res off, so not looking good if you're Magna Ventus.
That Mercy has absolutely been paying off for them. Mercy's gotten a number of clutch reses to bring a DPS or tank back into the fight when they need it the most. And
so, Magna Ventus finally has some ultimates online though, so they will be able to get a contest on this point. An early nano onto Noro, not going to be effective, so Honeybadger going to find a dot on the backline.
oh wow, yeah, Honeybadger getting a kill, LucidScience knocking people around in Primal Rage form, managing to get a kill, Noro going down to BoostedEGirl, and it looks like once again, nothing's really coming up for Magna Ventus. Like again, it seemed like a pretty commanding push at first, but as soon as this Brigitte falls, I don't think anyone's really in a position to contest this, and no, they're not able to. And so at 2-1, that point is going to go the way of the New England Whalers in a very commanding third point on Nepal.
So the Whalers will go up 2-0 in this series, and I really want to highlight with how aggressive the Whalers are playing that Magna Ventus hasn't been able to get those fights to build those ultimates, and that's what 3-3 requires, those long, drawn-out, scrappy fights to get 70-80% on these huge ultimates like Graviton Surge or Primal Rage. And so without that, it took them the entire duration of that map to get those ultimates, and by the time they used them, Honeybadger was just constantly destroying their backline, so they never got that full 6v6 team fight that they wanted. As we head to Blizzard World, though, we now finally see a map where you almost have to run that 3-3.
Yeah, so as you've mentioned, both of these teams have loved switching up their comp. And I remember on the first map I criticized New England. I don't know if I criticized because I knew they were winning, but I mentioned that they didn't change up their comp out that much. And they definitely showed that they are more than capable of doing that on Nepal. And this time, we're going to see a map where you kind of need to just make what Blizzard gives you work, just because there aren't that many comps that actually work on Blizzard World. So it's going to be interesting to see these teams have to deal with this new arena and these new rules.
I mean, you know, they are the New England Whalers, and they're kind of like harnessing the spirit of the New England Patriots, where it's like, we're just kind of going to play however we want to play, and we're going to win, and you're just not going to be able to break it. So, you know, Honeybadger being the Tom Brady here, stuck in Brig Jail for this defense, and they're running a 3-3, but using it on and instead of is in here is an unconventional pick, but I like what they're doing because they're going to play aggressive like they've been doing. So Mozser's going to be able to get more consistent healing in from playing in a safer spot on the point versus on this attack. It looks like they might be running DPS.
Ooh, no complaints here. Let's bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
They're going to have to switch off of this very fast once they see this Brigitte, because HKeyBroke is going to have such a hard time finding any value on that Genji with it, and then this lack of healing. So I think once they scout off that they're running this Ana 3-3, they're going to go back and actually run the Reinhardt, and they will be switching over to a full Reinhardt 3-3 here. Oh,
all right.
Yes.
That's pretty unsurprising. But we finally have them trying to push in there. Looks like they are going to try to flank around the right. I don't blame them. That's usually what my teams do when we're attacking the first point of Blizzard World. Keep on the high ground.
Your ladder teams to actually coordinate. I'm impressed. And flanking all the way behind. Yes, I like this play here. Negate their ability to get into your back line and force them to play on the point, because that's what you want to do with that Reinhardt. You have so much more upfront damage that you can work with, so forcing them to play on the point goes such in your favor. So Magna Ventus is in a good position here.
Yeah, things are definitely looking good for the offense at this point, though just as we say that, Noro gets focused down, which is not what you want here. There are no mercies to res, and at this point the defense is looking like they are in the better position right now. They're sticking up. Cyrus trying to get out with his life or his mech, not succeeding at either of those, and that push is going to go away. That did not work out.
I mean, this is just such clean play from the Whalers. They're playing and they're using their space in the perfect position, and now they're getting all these late stagger kills. As I say that though, Zoros is gonna fall, so this could be a position for Magna Ventus to take this back.
Yeah, maybe they are holding in a very unusual position right there, and the fact that they are getting some of these kills incredibly late means that members of Magna Ventus are going to have time to respawn and group up, but they are going to choose to stick together, hide back here, and wait for everybody to respawn, and they're going to push in as a team. And so the defense is going to have more than enough time to reset themselves. And so I'll be interested if they try the LA Gladiator strat of flanking around from the back this time. No, they're pushing right through the front.
Yeah, they are pushing main, but Offtank does have his Graviton Surge to try and pick Lucid off here. It wouldn't surprise me if they actually elected to just solo grab him to burn him down, because that's how dominant he's been playing.
Oh, and here we go. We have a bombing, ulting Winston in, which is pretty classic. Noro is just about to have his Earth Shatter ready, and if he can get some real value off of this, as soon as he manages to burn through all of these shields, and there he is. He's going to shatter Zarya. Is anyone on his team in a position to comp? No, they're not able to capitalize on that. And the Zarya.
Oh, this is going to be a massacre. Actually, that grab found everybody, but only 2 kills coming out of it. So maybe we see the sweep here, and the Whalers still find that aggressive, and it took so long for that initial push to come through that only after 2 fights, there's a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, exactly, and they are not wasting any time. They're like, we're just going to push you all the way up to your point, or all the way back to your spawn, because they know that things are looking very good for them right now. With less than a minute left on the clock, Magna Ventus, they can't even really afford to switch heroes at this point. They need to get these ultimates off and make something of them. Neither team has any ultimates ready with the exception of the defensive Winston. So I would say that right now I'd be pretty happy if I were the New England Whalers.
Well, Offtank is very close to getting another Graviton Surge, and now that they trying to kill his card, they finally moved LucidScience off and electing to try and focus him down. He has that Primal Rage again, and obviously gonna fall in the fray. So not what you want to be seeing from Magna Ventus here. They have these 6 ultimates available, and they need to start using them, and that's a good way to start with 4 on the ground from Noro.
Oh, things were looking so good for the defense there, and they're definitely not giving this up yet. And no, the offense was not able to capitalize on that pretty meaty Earth Shatter, knocking a number of the defensive players down. And at the moment, despite Aduuuh trying to get to the point, desperately hoping to cause an overtime, and succeeding at doing so. So there is a couple seconds of opportunity left for the offense, but things are not looking good at the moment. And
yeah, Noro just having to try and swing when he can, and I don't know, you don't even know where that graph came out at, as we see just...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, though. There's nobody really on the offense that are really in a position to block this. That Diva ult possibly could get something done, but it does not, and that point is going to end. And so it is now up to the New England Whalers to score any percentage whatsoever on the point. And this map is going to be theirs.
I need to highlight Mozser on this Ana, though. You know, I highlighted it because normally you never see that Ana because you need the Xin to provide damage, but they ran that Ana so well. They played in positions where Mozser was constantly able to find angles on the nades to get that angled healing. And so there was a time when we saw Offtank find 4 people on a grab, but because he found a purple nade onto Noro, they had to retreat, so they couldn't even follow up on it. And because that was such a dominant hold, they're going to be switching sides. So for anyone watching at home, the Magna Ventus now in the blue and the Whalers now in the red.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that both teams had an opportunity to have the entire map instead of just having to worry about making the same distance. And you're totally right that they got a lot of value out of that Ana.
I mean, you know, the Whalers have just been playing so well. Like, it's nothing against what Magna Ventus is doing. They've been playing perfectly fine, but the Whalers play around LucidScience so well to put him in position to find like extreme value out of that Winston, out of that Primal Rage. So now as we go on to this defense, I'm interested to see if Noro can try and copy that success as the Magna Ventus is electing to run the same Ana defense that we saw from the Whalers.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that. I'm also curious to see, I don't think it's going to happen, but Hanzo, Symmetra. Oh, they're running, the Hanzo Spark did this. Oh no, they're not going to do that. There's this trick you can do with Symmetra to give your team a fake speed, like a weird pseudo speed boost. That's not going to end up happening. That being said, they still have a lot of offensive characters if they end up choosing to stick with this.
Yeah, I mean, running the pharmacy ball composition, you see this a lot in your entire point is to try and get in their backline, separate them all, and then find Pixel Fit. And they actually find Noro alone, so Noro in a dangerous spot right now. No one in his team can really get to him to aid him.
Yeah, no, Noro is fighting for his life at the moment as a bunch of people are pushing on him. Noro is actually going to fall, and that is not what you want on the defense. Magna Ventus at the moment having trouble even pushing onto the point that they own. Cyrus going down, losing his mech. And I don't think the defense is going to be able to hold for much longer unless something really incredible happens from these classes that are not burst damage.
Yeah, I mean, again, just super clean play out of everything the Whalers have been doing. And, you know, at this point, if you're Magna Ventus, you really don't know what to do because you try and focus down Lucid and they punish you. And you try and get boosted out of the air and they punish you. It is a very difficult decision to try and make because the appeal and the aggression out of the Whalers is just doing such a good spot. And Mozser actually managed to find HKeyBroke in the beginning here, so really not what you want to be seeing from Magna Ventus.
Oh, I feel so bad for Magna Ventus. Yeah, there's this attack. It's multi-pronged. I don't even know where I would attack from. I mean, losing Genji like that before he manages to do anything because of Mozser's Widowmaker, that's so bad at the moment. BoostedGirl getting out alive. Zoros and Honeybadger are going to fall, which gives them something of a numerical advantage, but the spawns are so one-sided at the moment. It's going to be really tough for them to reach the point, especially considering Widowmaker just popped her Infrasight that gives her and her team the ability to see them through walls.
Yeah, and with 4 ultimates up here, it's going to be a struggle to find any edge, especially with a EMP finding all the alive members of Magna Ventus. So if we push into this now, this is where this comp really doesn't shine because it's hard to get anyone on the point. So despite them taking so much space, that cart is just now getting to that final area. So Magna Ventus might be in a position to take that, and I spoke a little bit too soon as they just clean up.
Yeah, no, they have been very commanding on Blizzard World. I think they bought more than just a day pass. They plan on staying here permanently. Oh, wow. I think more than just HKey's HKey just broke. He just got completely pile-drived by Hammond. And they're choosing not to switch any of their characters, which I don't blame them. They're really close to getting a bunch of ultimates, but they're going to need to get something more to happen.
And they find Mozser, so a very good play there. Actually managed to finally focus somebody down, and Honeybadger actually being hacked by Offtank. So finally some momentum going away from Magna Ventus. They're not capitalizing on it enough as Lucid Dreams coming in and showing the rest of them off. A good EMP, and it looks like finally Magna Ventus is able to get the stop of this cart.
Yeah, no, this cart has not stopped since it became part of the map, but they are able to equalize, which is always appreciated. But I would still be pretty worried if I were them because they used all their ultimates, and the only 2 ultimates they're about to have. I guess Zoros Hanzo ult will be useful for zoning. Their other ult is just Widowmaker. Oh, yeah.
You know, they're still electing to run with this, not switching over to the goats like you normally see to try and attack this, but they're going to find Omiske, and what is the perfect kill you want on that entry, because now they can't push into you, and all of these kills flooding right back to the way of the Whalers.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, that is not what you want at the moment, and while the hamster takes a little nap, the rest of the team is going to keep pushing. Well, they're going to keep pushing forward. They're not going to push the payload forward. And we have an ulting Genji on the field trying to get something done. I didn't even manage to click to him before he was killed off. And now the defense is feeling the heat. They need to get something to happen. And they're going to need to use, looks like really 2, possibly Aduuuh's ultimate before this payload
Cyrus
gets there.
Has to find a miracle bomb here. And he does! Oh my god, he finds both snipers. It's exactly what you want. So Magna Ventus staying alive by the skin of their teeth. And oh no, Boosted. Oh, he tried to go for the back cap. I got scared. But
that would have been fun. Best laid plans of mechs and men. But here we go. They don't lose that much time. They still have 3 minutes and 19 seconds to push the payload just a couple meters. And they are going to need to build up a couple of ultimates in order to do that. Actually, you know, both teams really need to build up some ultimates. They're both.
It is a short space and a long amount of time, but considering how Whalers just switched over to the 3-3 composition, Magna Ventus is in a good position here to actually hold this for a good amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. So things are finally looking up for the defense, but that's only that is short. Comfort considering how important it is that they win these next 2 fights. And right now things are pretty even. I wouldn't be too fussed if I were the defense or the offense, but the offense they're finally pushing that payload again, and the defense, they need to turn this around. Is anyone in a position to even block this?
A great EMP finding 5 minutes. HKeyBroke gonna die before he can fully unsheath his katana. So now this is a stalling cut. stall time here for Magna Ventus. They need to try to deny as much time as they can off this.
And a ulting Winston as Noro is definitely going to help that, but it's pretty much only him at the moment, and there's nobody there to block, and the New England Whalers are going to complete the map, which actually does complete, it gives the series to them. That's 3-0.
That is 3-0. We are going to finish playing this out because, again, it is a scrim. It's for practice. And, you know, I mean, that was Blizzard World. And the Whalers, they didn't just buy no day pass. They didn't buy no season pass. No, they bought the Express Plus fast line, skip all of the lines, and just have as much fun as you can at Blizzard World. So, you know, I mean, the Whalers playing very aggressively, but also playing very defensively in a sense where they can peel very well for their teammates. So, you know, I love seeing this kind of style of Overwatch because it always keeps you on your toes. Something's always going on. Yeah,
they've shown that they can pretty much play anything that they need to. They've shown that they're incredibly flexible when they have to swap, because whatever they're doing isn't working. Whenever what they're doing is working, they're more than happy to capitalize on it. We've seen excellent Pharah play. We've seen excellent Roadhog play. We've seen excellent play from a whole bunch of heroes, and I would be very happy with my performance if I were the New England Whalers. Likewise, the Magna Ventus has been doing a really good job trying new things. They're definitely not taking this lying down. And on Hanamura, of all maps, they're going to get an opportunity to mix things up.
Yeah, and, you know, Hanamura 2 CP, and this is, you know, again, it's one of those maps where it's a kind of a coin flip of whether or not you see something completely Clown Fiesta like 5 DPS, or you see the Reinhardt 3-3, and, you know, I said 5 DPS, and I count 4, so I'm going to count that as a moral victory.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they stick with the Symmetra. This is one of the best maps for an offensive Symmetra, just because there's so much verticality, and the verticality is within range of her teleporter. So we see that the defense appears to be going for a 2-2, right? Cool, with a Baptiste.
Running the Baptiste bunker without a Bastion. A lot of B said in that sentence, but this is very unconventional because normally, like, you run this Baptiste, you hold up on that little area, right? You hold up on that high ground right there, and you just try and stop them before they can get to the choke. So I don't know what their plan is. Ash going for a bit of a spawn peek, and this comp that Magna Ventus that the Whalers are running is gonna absolutely destroy this if not played perfectly, because you can attack from so many different angles. It's gonna be hard to really keep that bunker stabilized.
Yeah, the only change that they made a couple of changes on offense. Doomfist is gone, replaced with, I believe, Lucio, and LucidScience has switched over to Winston. And actually, they're playing way more passively than I expected. I thought that the New England Whalers were going to push in there with the same aggression they showed on other maps. But it looks like this time they're kind of waiting to all group up, deciding what comp they want to play as. The defense, who does not have that luxury, has decided to hole up in the second floor and get ready for this upcoming push.
BoostedEGirl gets hacked, so as Diva, now you become a ultimate battery, so good hacks coming off there, but Offtank is going to fall to his somber counterpart, so a very good opening here for the Whalers.
Yeah, absolutely. They've pushed their opponent into this little room, and it's up to Magna Ventus to survive on a battleground that the New England Whalers have chosen, and they are not currently succeeding at doing that. Despite the Immortality Field keeping a couple people alive, the remainder have already fallen, and their allies are going to soon go that way. Omiske's probably going to switch off Mercy, because I'm not sure why else you would ult in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, the defense did not work out the way it planned, so just use your ultimates to stall as much as possible, and this is going to be a very hefty time bank here for the Whalers to push in. Not only that, but they're going to have an EMP and a Nano LucidScience, which a LucidScience without the Nano is already deadly, but with it, to add that extra damage, that extra resistance, becomes a murder machine. So this could be a very fast double cap here for the Whalers.
Yeah, It's all up to Magna Ventus at this point. Things are pretty stacked against them, including team comps and positioning right now. They're holed up on the second floor, and there we go. Asombra snuck into the back lines and gave her team the hacks. And here come the offense to try and capitalize on that. Not actually getting any kills. Baptiste turning out to be really useful, but not for particularly long. And now the offense is finally pushed in, and the remaining defense struggling to keep this point alive.
Cyrus manages to find LucidScience, but I don't know if it's going to be enough, as there's so much pressure on this point that one tick is going to be given up, and this might just be the full capture here, as there's no real way to get a good presence on this cart.
Yeah, a lot riding on this Baptiste ult that just came out, but there's nobody really to capitalize on except for Baptiste himself, which finished off Honeybadger, but the respawns have managed to come in, and the kills are coming out.
Yeah, Noro is back on his Winston. He's close to the Primal Rage, so this actually could be very winnable for Magna Ventus here as they finally find that flood of kills, but still, 5 minutes on the bank and 2 ticks of permanent progress for the Whalers.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough, but it's not over until the Fat Lady sings, and they can definitely continue holding, because that was a very commanding hold right there. They had to push into a point that they'd lost control of. So, and they have a Winston ult ready.
I mean, Magna Ventus is really happy with that because Honeybadger threw his EMP weight a solo EMP Aduuuh on that Baptiste, but it didn't find the value it needs. So now we see a typical Winston 3-3 with a Sombra to try and find the extra cleavage. Honeybadger once again has a EMP to start this fight off.
Yeah, and here we go. They're not wasting any time. They're very aggressive. HKeyBroke already falling. Another Sombra ult coming out, hacking a number of the defensive players, killing them off, and almost as quickly, like as soon as you blink, they're already back on the point, trying to build it right back up. This ulting Winston, pretty much the only thing blocking it. Nobody really in a position to get in there and contest except for trickling.
HKeyBroke switch over to the Reaper to stall. You don't typically see it, but it works great as he finds Lucid Dreams. And if Magna Ventus can clutch this out again, I'm going to be so impressed. And they find BoostedEGirl. The grab coming out, not going to find what it really wants to, but the kill's still going their way anyway.
Yeah, no, they were able to get that to work. Maybe just the thought of the grab was enough to get everybody to split up. And then they picked them off one by one. So that was a pretty commanding hold. Magna Ventus showing that they are able to clutch through a defense if they need to. And the New England Whalers trying to decide, what is it we're doing wrong here? Do we need to switch anything up and try again? Neither team having many ultimates ready for this upcoming fight. This one may boil down to pure hero skill.
Honeybadger are going to be 3 for 3 on having an EMP for this fight, and HKeyBroke actually stuck on that Reaper and doesn't manage to stay alive. Noro also going to fall through that purple, so the Transcendence can't heal him enough here, so not looking good if you're Magna Ventus. I don't know if they can count the Lucky Stars 3 times in a row to get a miracle stall off as they lose 4 members.
We'll have to see. They've lost more than that and managed to hold the point. HKeyBroke is back, is going to have a Reaper ult ready, mostly countered by the D.Va, gave enough time for the Winston to spawn back in. Things are definitely looking good for the offense, but Winston managing to get the Primal Rage off and keep himself alive for the rest of the respawns to come out, and this point is still not over. Omiske pushing in there, Hammond pushing in there, both support ultimates coming out for the New England Whalers, just desperately trying to finish this point, which has lost so much time, and it looks like they are finally going to be able to do that unless this Winston cannot push in fast enough.
You know, despite that time bank, not being the greatest, I have to give such props to Magna Ventus there, because they managed to hold Hanamura point B for 1 tick for 4.5 minutes. So a really good job there of stalling, and that can really show you how coordinated this team is, because those stall picks, it requires a lot of trust in your teammates to actually trickle onto that point one by one and then get everyone on there, find the kills that you needed. So they work well in those chaotic fights, but with this dominating style that we've seen the Whalers play, it's been hard to really get those out. So this might not be telling of the skills of these teams, more just like countered by their culture and the nature of how they play.
Yeah, the only word I can think of to describe Magna Ventus' defense was scrappy. Like, they took whatever advantage they were given. On a number of occasions, there would be a single hero alive on the point who's just like, I just need to stay alive long enough for somebody else to show up on point. And then they did. And it was incredible. And I love seeing teams pull out crazy stops like that. And it looks like, yeah, they're trying to choose what they want to play as. The defense, having no such qualms, we're going straight for a 3-3.
And Mozser still on that Ana. And honestly, Hanamura is one of those maps where Anas can be a pocket pick, kind of like how you always saw Reinzario on King's Row. Even when Ana was not meta, you usually saw Ana on Hanamura because it suits her playstyle so well. So Mozser showing a supreme Ana play. I'm not surprised they're choosing to run this, but I am surprised at this offense here. Offtank gonna scout, and once they see that they're gonna be running this wins at 3-3, I doubt they keep this because HKeyBroke and Xirius are gonna be has such a hard time pushing into that brig.
Yeah, and it does look like they're going to do a number of changes. Actually, a lot of changes. Pretty much only Omiske managing to stay on the same hero. As they finally push out into this chokehold, the pressure is on them to get something to happen. They need to push all the way through the map, or it's going to go the way of Hanamura. I'm sorry, go the way of the New England Whalers. Pushing into the courtyard right now, scaring off the Winston, trying to stick all together. Both teams looking for that first pick that'll give them the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, and, running that Reinhardt, you really want to try and get to that point, but the Whalers doing such a good job of throwing them off. You sleep Xirius, you find those purple nades. Now Noro gonna fall, so that is the first fight in the first minute going to the Whalers, and they are just playing so aggressively. They're literally chasing them into their spawn.
It was so close to going the other way, though, because the New England Whalers' LucidScience, their Winston, he was down to 37 HP when he managed to turn the corner, and Anna managed to heal him back up. And if he had fallen, that point could have definitely gone the other way. And I don't know if the Magna Ventus are aware of that, but they were very close to breaking that defense right there, and they're going to get another chance. They still have 2.5 minutes on the clock. I don't think they're aware of where Zoros is currently hiding, but I am, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, normally you see Winston's do that, but Zarya is showing that she has some hops as well. The rally going to be invested here just to try and pop Noro down. We switch over to that Winston to try and contest it. LucidScience going to fall before the Anad gets in, though, so this is a really big opening for Magna Ventus here.
Yeah, this time they did what they needed to do and actually focus down the Winston enough to kill it, and then they're able to get on the point. They're getting some capture percentage. The defense not really looking like they're sure if they want to contest this, because they tried and they got immediately countered by a Graviton, but they're getting the kills anyway, and they're pushing back in. And the defense is managing to hold the point for the time being. Oh my gosh.
They only let one tick give up there, and I mean, Mozser's just finding these critical sleep darts left and right. Whether it's finding a Diva on entry or finding a Noro who literally just popped Primal Rage, he's doing so much on this Ana that you really can't see. So now as we push into this here, there's only 1.5 minutes left for Magna Ventus, and they don't have a lot to work with.
Yeah, no, just a Diva ult and probably 2 support ults. Neither of those combo particularly well. So they're going to probably have to go for sustain. They have to get a lot of value out of all 3 of those because they're going to need to not only push into this point, but hold it. And here that push comes, not off to a great start with Omiske immediately falling and Noro going with him. I think this push was failed before it really began.
Yeah, I mean, I sound like a broken record when I keep talking about how aggressive the Whalers are playing, but the Whalers are playing so aggressive that they're splitting up this entire team. Aduuuh going left, the rest of the team going center because, you're just being picked off so much on that Zenyatta that you're trying whatever you can to stay alive through that mid-fight, and it ends up negating his entire value. So even though he's still alive, he's basically dead because he can't heal or discord anybody. And now, less than a minute comes on the clock here, and the ultimate bank is a little bit better for Magna Ventus. They're going to have a Grav Bomb combination, that bigger bang to open this up, but there is so much to negate it on this side of the Whalers. The
New England Whalers are very close to having 6 ultimates, which is exactly what you want in a final push like this. And here we go, all the ultimates coming out. Have a nice flight, HKeyBroke. Graviton coming out along with the combo Diva ult, countered by the Lucio ult, and there goes the offense. Looks like team offense is blasting off again, and I think that spells the end for Hanamura.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can touch this on the side of Magna Ventus, so a clean 4-0 for the Whalers in the scrim.
Wow, that was commanding. Now, despite the fact that it was a 4-0 scoreline, I feel like Magna Ventus did a fairly good job on each of the maps. While it didn't really translate into results, none of these were super dominating, no questions asked stomps. Oh, that play of the game, that was awesome. Look at how long that boop was.
Yeah, overall, it was a very, it's been a very good scrim. We're going to be heading to another map to play out this scrim. So, I don't know where we're going to be going next, but, I hope Magna Ventus can kind of collect themselves and play around this aggressive style that we've seen out of there.
Yep, so that was the 4th map. That map was Hanamura, and it went the way of the New England Whalers, looking for a nice, quick and easy 4-0. And so it looks like we're going to spend our next map on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Always a nice map. And what do you expect to see on this Gibraltar defense and offense?
I mean, we see Gibraltar a lot. It's one of the more favored maps by the community because it is such a unique map in terms of its verticality, and more of that verticality you can actually abuse.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also I like how there's always a lot of Widowmakers. Widowmaker is incredibly popular on this particular defense and offense. So I always like seeing Widowmakers on either team.
Yeah, we've seen Widowmakers, we've seen Sombras, so hopefully we get to see some of that crazy stuff as we head into here.
And it doesn't look like there's any... Yeah, we'll probably be starting the map relatively soon. Looks like everybody's doing okay. We're able to jump in there. I hope the Magna Ventus isn't taking these losses too badly and they're prepared to give us a really commanding final defense. Because, I mean, some teams kind of break down and feel sad after they've after they've lost a bunch, but other teams, it fuels them and it gives them more motivation to do even better in the upcoming fight.
So, yep, we're gonna be heading here pretty soon, and it's always nice to take that last map as like a moral victory, where it's okay. We didn't, we might not have won the series in total, but we got that one map. We have that potential to keep going, and next week find that game, find those extra maps to take a series.
Yep, and also they got an opportunity to try some unusual comps. On Hanamura, they had a very unusual offense. Like you said, it looked like a bunker comp without a bastion, which I've never heard of, but they tried it, and it worked for a decently long time. And I think that's kind of, in a way, it's freeing to have already lost the match, because then you can try crazy stuff like that. I don't think they would have had the freedom to try a comp like that if the series hadn't already been lost. So... maybe they're going to do that again. Maybe we'll see even weirder comps, because when the series is already over, you might as well try some more unusual strategies, because when else are you going to try them?
I mean, it would be pretty hard to find weirder compositions here. We've seen a lot of crazy stuff come out this game, so I doubt we see anything like 6 DPS or like solo Baptiste support. I could be proven wrong. These teams have definitely shown that they like to pull out into their bag of tricks, but we're probably going to end up seeing, like dive, maybe some 2-2-2, but Xirius actually on the Mei for this defense. I don't know if he's just staying in spawn just to kind of mess with our heads a little bit, but I have never seen someone choose a Mei on Gibraltar defense here.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe they are no, did not stick around. Though they did switch to Symmetra, which is an equally unusual choice. I don't think Mozser's going to stay on Roadhog for very long. I'm pretty sure they're just going for that early hook, and then they're going to switch him over to something else. But for the time being, yeah, it looks like they've decided to settle down. The defense, Magna Ventus going for a pretty classic 3-3.
Yeah, it has become the norm to do this little pull hook combination. No one on the bridge to really try and capitalize. As I say that, though, Xirius pushing up a little bit, we might see it. Nope. The Hanzo arrow not showing what we want.
Yep, they're switching over. They're not in a hurry to get onto the point. They see where the defense is. They're not particularly scared of them. And they're going to push back. The defense holding a pretty far point all the way over here, and they are huddled up so much. If there was an Anna, she would love to get a nade right in there. LucidScience building up a bunch of ultimate by just jumping in there and Tesla cannoning everyone to his heart's content, since he knows where they are because of the Hanzo arrows. Giving Mercy some ultimate.
So much value here. The second he gets knocked back, he literally jumps back up, almost in rhythm. And Honeybadger also finding a lot of damage, already 70% on that Spirit Dragon that Hanzo can shoot out. So this has been a very, end characteristic aggressive defense out of the Whalers here. And LucidScience already has a Primal Rage, and throwing off both of the supports going to manage to find HKeyBroke in the wrong spot, the wrong time. So this first kill finally going the way of the Whalers.
Yeah, they almost managed to finish off Zenyatta as Mozser, but Mozser had a Transcendence in place to keep himself alive, and there goes the rest of the defense. Halfway decent stagger on Lucio as a consolation prize, or I guess the opposite of that, where it's an additional prize, because everything went absolutely perfectly for the New England Whalers. I don't think they could have asked for anything more on that first point attack.
Yeah, I mean, and now pushing out, finding these late spawn kills. Oh, they killed Xirius. I was kind of expecting them to sort of leave him there, but I guess when you're constantly pressing W, you kind of just want to kill as many people as you can. And now, oh my God, they're actually in their spawn. Like you see spawn camping on like control point maps, but never on payloads. And speaking of payloads, they kind of need to push it as they just left it be. So
I was trying to push the payload for them. I had the camera over there, but turns out I'm not allowed to push the payload. They are, but they weren't doing it. The payload's finally moving. The defense got basically a free respawn right there because the payload didn't move. So technically, that was the first successful defense while being spawn camped.
yeah, and they actually managed to find kills all that too. So like, Hubris is a killer there as they decide to push so forward that they don't push the payload, they don't find the kills they need, and now this massive advantage in space and time they had is being negated slowly as this is a super dominant fight for Magna Ventus.
Yeah, Magna Ventus wasting no time. They know that they were kind of given a divine blessing with that payload not moving, and they were able to push in and capitalize on it. Though the offense is turning things around, trying to weed out anybody in that room, which is only Omiske, who manages to get out with just a sliver of health to group back up with his team and maintain the ultimate advantage with 3 ultimates online for Magna Ventus and only 2 ultimates online for the New England Whalers.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really weird fight there, as we saw both teams kind of play too aggressive and end up losing the fight that they had already won. But now as we push into this, we see that the Whalers, trying to find those entry kills, actually managed to trade a dub for Sylph. So an Ana for a Mercy, as this fight looked very even. BoostedEGirl going to get demeched on the card though.
Yeah, no, both teams trading a couple here and there. The payload's finally moving, so I think things are definitely advantaging for the defense right now, as the remaining offending players don't feel the need to contest, knowing that the defense has a spawn advantage at this stage in the map. Zoros is going to pop out those wall hacks for what it's worth. Not that anyone's really in a position to capitalize on them. But here they come. We should be seeing the next fight relatively soon.
And that Dragon actually going to zone off the rest of the team. Not only is he going to find Aduuuh, but it's going to put Noro in a position where he has to die because no one can help him. So 2 very important kills. That might just lead to a free point being given over.
Yeah, no, we've got... Oh, but they're not going to give it up that easily. Offtank pushing in as Sombra, giving her team the hacks. But there wasn't really anyone to capitalize on that. So despite them being hacked, they're like, okay, well, we will push the payload while hacked. We can still do that.
I think that qualifies as a softcore C9, as Magna Ventus kind of forgot to defend the cart. So Nano coming off tells me Aduuuh is going to be switching over. We're going to probably be seeing a more typical Reinhardt defense. Yeah, Noro throwing out the Primal Rage, going to be back on this Reinhardt, which you normally see on this map because of how intense these corner plays can be. So now, hopefully, Magna Ventus can stabilize because they're running this Reinhardt on this part of the map that favors it so heavily.
Yeah, I suppose better late than never. I mean, they only have one more bend to get through, and the offense has the ultimate advantage right now. Though, you are right, the defense is building those ultimates really quickly. The Reinhardt is so far out of position, if he can get back out with his life, that'd be good. But I don't think Offtank is going to be able to join him. Nope, he is. Offtank managing to get out alive despite 1v2ing a Zenyatta and ulting Winston. And wow, everything is coming up roses for the defense in that particular fight. I mean, it looked like it could go either way until it didn't.
Yeah, and 2.5 minutes is a fairly average amount of time, but when you look at these ultimates here, they have so much online to keep this up that Magna Ventus is finally in a position to get a good stabilization and get a long hold here. Yeah,
Noro is ready with that Earth Shatter as soon as he gets a real opportunity to do so. But he doesn't even need to use it yet. He's just going to hold on to it. The offense isn't really pushing, so he's like, all right, we'll just wait until he'll show up. And here we go, a meaty shatter.
Man, shatter. Only going to find 2 and actually a trade. So, this, despite that amazing shatter, it's actually not finding the value it needs. They managed to demech Xirius to force him to use the self-destruct. So,
but
if you're, wow. If you're the Whalers, you're extremely happy with that because you just barely lost a fight where they used all of their ultimates and you only committed the Transcendence in the rally. So very good economy now, and that massive advantage I was hyping up beforehand is now completely gone and flipped in favor of the Whalers.
Yeah, the ball is in the Whalers' court to capitalize on this opportunity to make use of the equalization of the ultimates. And it looks like LucidScience is going to start this push off by jumping in there. He doesn't even, I was going to say he doesn't need to use it, but he does. He uses his Primal Rage to try and give his team some zones. And Noro has to look out or he's going to be going off the edge. Wow, there he goes. He's not going off just yet. Graviton coming out. trying to counter it with Aduuuh's Transcendence and doing so relatively successfully, but another healthy shatter hitting Zoros and sending him back to spawn. BoostedEGirl is going to lose her mech, and this is another fight going the way of the defense. So I don't think the New England Whalers were able to take advantage of the opportunity they were given, and now they're down to less than a minute on the point to push this payload the rest of the way.
You know, I really want to highlight the change we've seen on Magna Ventus here. They're finally realizing what LucidScience does. He jumps in your backline and draws your attention. So what do? LucidScience jumps in your backline, and they move forward, and they push with their main take advantage because LucidScience is behind them and not in front of them. So good play there on Magna Ventus, finally adjusting to this style, and now putting himself in a position to get a fairly good hold here on Gibraltar.
Yeah, though this does seem to be the first real commanding push by the offense, zoning the defense back towards the cart, pushing them back slowly but surely. Maybe they push a little bit too hard. LucidScience is going to go down. That Diva ult didn't manage to get anything done, but regular old kills are coming out for the defense. A clutch Zenyatta Transcendence to keep himself alive for what it's worth. But going into overtime with several characters shattered, this fight is definitely still a defense favored fight. Here we have a Zarya ultimate coming out, managing to get a bunch of kills, and I don't think there's any offense left to even push this point. I think this is as far as it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, Slythe's trying his best to sort of stall this cart, but I don't think he's going to last much longer. So, overtime, finally... Oh, I say that. Slythe's going to drop the beat.
Oh, no.
Going to die mid-cast, so...
They're going to drop him before he drops the beat. So
overall, though, a very good push, by the Whalers. Managed to get a majority of the map, and we have switched again. So Magna Ventus is Magna Ventus is back in the red, and the Whalers back in the blue. Fire and Water pushing in here. So we finally saw Magna Ventus react to that aggressive style. So this could be their opening here. Now that they've analyzed, mid-game what the Whalers are doing and they're playing around it. I wonder if that's gonna translate to their attacking side as well, and see if they can finally outmatch the Whalers.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the first time that the match really went in their favor. I believe this is the first time the New England Whalers weren't able to complete the map. So Magna Ventus, they've figured something out, and they're going to want to capitalize on that. But whatever it is, I hope it works on offense as well as defense. And they are still choosing what heroes they want to play as. The defenders do not have that luxury. They have to choose relatively quickly. And they're going for a double sniper 2-2. So they're playing a lot of long-range heroes. Actually, they're playing a mix of long-range and short-range. That's going to be an interesting defense with this particular roster.
It doesn't really surprise me because we saw this on Junkertown as well. Yeah, you hold back, you stack those sight lines to where both the snipers can shoot at the same place from a different angle, and now you don't know where to look, and one of them is bound to find a kill eventually, and so close to find that early
I know, the Mercy really was playing with fire there, but managed to get out alive. And I mean, like I said, with these double snipers, they're hanging so far back, the payload, it's just pushing, no questions asked. Noro trying to do basically the same thing that the other Winston was doing at this stage in the fight. Just jump in there, get some ultimate. Isn't working out quite as well, but it doesn't matter. They're not contesting the point. It's just going to keep moving through this archway.
Yeah, running their snipers really can't, and that's why you run two snipers. Offtank can't look at Honeybadger and Zoros at the same time, so he isn't going to manage to fall. The red's coming through, so really just managing to burn a cooldown here. So we see a double sniper battle. So 4 snipers on the field, and Honeybadger once again finds Offtank on that Widowmaker. And then Noro as a little bonus.
Yeah, they are not having a good time with these enemy snipers at the moment. They've actually decided to go double sniper themselves to try and counter it. So far, they're not succeeding at doing so. I would be very pleased with if I were the New England Whalers with my snipers, because they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just finding so much value out of these snipers. Honeybadger, playing very well to his extent. And now Noro coming in, trying to find the focus. They're going to trade, so Zoros and HKeyBroke going to end up falling, but a res coming on the side of the Whalers is going to give them that numbers advantage.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on the offensive snipers. Magna Ventus' snipers need to start getting some kills because they're not pushing the payload. So if they're not pushing the payload, they better be making space for the rest of the team to push the payload. And currently they're not doing that. So right now, man, this offense is having such a hard time getting started just due to all of these snipers on the defense. They have more team support. I mean, you saw that the Mercy rezzed Zoros when he needed it. And also, they don't need to worry about pushing the payload because it only takes one defender to hold a payload.
Yeah, I mean, overall, these snipers have just been so dominant that they're killing everything before these fights can start. And that dragon's going to come out and zone them off. Actually going to find both of the snipers. So a good way to negate the snipers is just not allow the snipers to live.
Yeah.
Finally, Magna Ventus getting that edge they need to start pushing this card.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for. This is their first real chance to push in there. They're committing a Mercy ultimate to it. They're trying to push through there. For their credit, everybody who isn't a sniper on the New England Whalers are not going down easily. Even BoostedEGirl is going to use her Diva ult. Oh, got Omiske. No.
She pops the shrug just to stay alive and finds Omiske with it too. And now Zoros is rezzed, so he's back on the field. Honeybadger also going to manage to fall. The dragon coming out to zone them off. And so finally it looks like Magna Ventus is gonna get this edge. But BoostedEGirl like doing a lot of value with that Diva.
Oh man, it's not happening fast enough. They're getting the kills, but look at how low their time bank is. They have to push through almost the entire map. But they are finally, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and step 1 is taking this first point, which they have finally managed to do. Let's see if they remember to push the payload, because if they push the payload more than a meter, they did a better job than their opponents did at this stage in the fight.
And Honeybadger actually switched over to the Tracer there to stall, so resetting his entire ult charge for that Hanzo Dragon may not be the most important thing, but it can come in clutch. Like it can be one of those miracle ultimates that you see when these entire points. Noro, oh my god! He falls so early that they have to waste a resurrection. So now if Offtank or HKeyBroke fall, they cannot be rested. Honeybadger knows this. He plays aggressively, finds Offtank, and now he can't die. Pushing in, finds HKeyBroke, finds Aduuuh in typical style. This aggression is unparalleled.
And we're back to the same problem. Like, they just have a really hard time with these snipers. And to their credit, I'm seeing them doing their best to make life difficult. The Winston is constantly bombing the Widowmaker. And they are going to manage to get a couple of kills. Oh no, the opponents are able to get a couple of kills. They haven't managed to get anything to stick against this sniper team until like the 11th hour. And we have an ulting Winston pushing in there. I don't know if this is more like insult to injury, because they certainly didn't need to use it at this stage, but why not? Burn off this already disappearing time bank for a little bit.
You know, I mean, we've seen Magna Ventus try and outmatch this double sniper for the entirety of their offense, and it really hasn't worked. I mean, they find one miracle play where they manage to find both snipers, but you're not going to get that twice. So I would like to see them switch it up to maybe try and run something like a Reinhardt or an Orisa and play the point a bit more aggressively, because they find these snipers every now and then, but it's not enough to not negate the res.
Yeah, and they had an ultimate advantage for a little bit there, but they just didn't get that much value out of those ultimates. And despite Zoros falling to an ulting Mercy, which is always fun, it does look like this is going to be another failed offensive push. And the defense, they're going to burn even more time off of this payload. Where even is the payload? Oh, it's right there. It's only about halfway. Sylph getting a res off, because why not? Let's keep the Winston alive, the only thing that managed to happen in the offense's favor.
Yeah, and so now with less than a minute here, even if Magna Ventus can manage to find this, they're going to have a very small time bank to push through it the remainder of point C.
And I think Honeybadger just wants to know where the opponents are. His ultimate is ready to zone out an entire area. He's just waiting for them to push through this room. And he sees them, and here it comes. Oh, it's going to be right on top of them. Oh, but it is... Yeah, it's countered by the Lucio.
They have to use beat just to get out of there, and so now Omiske trying to push the card. LucidScience going absolutely primal, finding 2 kills and layered between Honeybadger finding Noro in response. So 15 seconds left here, and all of these kills are still just one-sidedly going to the Whalers.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Zenyatta transcended, but it doesn't matter. At this stage in the fight, you're doing so good. Ulting Winston has to ult just to get to the point, barely touches it to start overtime, gets peppered down immediately afterwards. Magna Ventus's respawn is going to be able to get there to the point. Hanzo has another ultimate. He started this fight with an ultimate, and he already has another one. Diva on point, trying to stay alive. Nobody on Magna Ventus has an ultimate coming up. And I don't think there's anything they can do at this stage.
And the Whalers will get the 5-0, taking Gibraltar once again. I mean, we've seen Magna Ventus react on their defense, but that was a very stagnant offense we've seen out of them. They were being outclassed from double snipers, and they really didn't change up much to try and react to it. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe they're just getting tired. Maybe they're on like their last leg of energy pushing into this. But the Whalers not slowing down whatsoever. I think they actually taped their W keys down because I've almost never a time where they're not in your spawn, in your face, trying to take every single advantage they can get.
Yeah, no, that was just commanding. I mean, everything they did was just working out. Are we going to another map?
Yeah, we're going to be going to another map here, as we still have some time left in this scrim block. So, going to be heading to Ilios, which will probably finish us out. So, you know, it's another control point map. It's another, and Ilios is one of those games where you can run those scrappy Clown Fiesta compositions, and we've seen Magna Ventus run in those styles very effectively. So this could be their opportunity here to take this very last map of the series.
And I think, I mean, considering with a 5-0, I dare say they probably are coming into this with, I would say, at least caster's advantage. I personally think that the New England Whalers are going to continue to do everything right. But this particular map, Lighthouse, if you remember, Magna Ventus, they got so many boop kills on Nepal Shrine. Like, they know how to use their Hammonds and their Lucios to get kills. And they have a Lucio. So actually, I think that this map could definitely go the way of Magna Ventus. Because they know how to use maps with environmental kills like this one.
There are no two words in the English language that spark fear like Symmetra Bastion, and we won't have to worry about it because I'll be switching off of it, you know, playing with my heart a little bit. So
you've won 5-0. Do it.
Yeah. Oh, the Winston 3-3 versus the Reinhardt 3-3 here. So Magna Ventus really wants to play this point. You're running that Reinhardt, you don't have the advantage in the open area because Winston works better in those more wide open spaces. And playing in this little pavilion here is a smart idea. Xirius getting slept in, Mozser on his trademark Ana doing so much value out of it and burning everyone down. Aduuuh falling for the point even unlocked.
Yeah, getting a bunch of credit for that Ana with a final grenade onto the point just for good measure. And other than BoostedGirl's mech, that is pretty much a full team wipe and everything going advantage-wise for the New England Whalers to start this round off.
And Noro just switching over to a Winston of his own to try and match. I will say this though, despite that fight not going their way, Offtank did so much damage that he's in position to get a grab as the first ultimate of this match between him and LucidScience. So there could be a position for a fast capture here if Offtank can find a lot of value out of his Graviton Surge.
Yeah, Noro not able to get to the top point due to getting booped off. He's going to be down on the floor with the offense, with I guess the defense at this point pushing down on top of them. Both teams getting a bunch of damage out, no real kills. Honeybadger popping the rally to keep the New England Whalers alive, and it's working. They're managing to get a bunch of kills, and that is going to be another hard reset for Magna Ventus. Nothing's really working for them, and I feel bad for them, but they have to decide whether they want to switch things up or save the ultimates that they've managed to build up.
And you know, I don't even know like what the problem is here. They're not playing together very well. They're playing very split. So it could be a communication error. It could just be that, you know, LucidScience is constantly breaking up everything, causing this chaotic fight. So now he's pushing into this. They're focusing down LucidScience, but that Nano gonna be denying that very quickly here.
Yep, here we go. Lucio breaking it down. Only Winston managing to get out of that Graviton. Double primal.
They flipped the point in the middle of this, so even if this fight doesn't go their way, their building percentage now, if BoostedEGirl drops the bomb on a point, not gonna find much as we start going to this chaotic fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they managed to pull that off. I guess the New England Whalers weren't expecting that. I certainly wasn't. And finally, things are coming up for Magna Ventus. They managed to take this point and scare the opposing players away, getting some decent kills while they're at it. This is going to be a pretty healthy stagger if either of these tanks go down. And oh, poor Mozser.
Yeah, and the value of that flip cannot be understated. Not only did they save 15% of their own, but they managed to stop that 90% coming through from the Whalers. So if they do lose a fight here, they have enough time to get a reasonable contest in, and they've shown their skill at getting back on that point in time. So that 15% could very well be the key factor on this point.
And they also have a bunch of ultimates to use. They're going to start off with Offtank's Graviton, just completely destroy this upcoming push, no questions asked. They're not even going to let anyone reset. You're all going to die. And that was the only ultimate they used. Although it looks like Noro used his ultimate as well. But that being said, they still have 3 ultimates saved. All 3 support ultimates for sustain as they try to keep this point for Magna Ventus.
Yeah. A very economic-friendly fight there from Magna Ventus. So keeping the momentum up here, they do have all 3 of their support ultimates to sustain through this fight, and with 70-80% coming online, this is last fight territory if you win this here.
Yeah, no, I'd be pretty happy if I were them. I think a lot is riding on Zoros' Graviton, just because she's not even in a lot of a position to get a lot of value out of it, because there's so many support ultimates ready to save through it, and they're going to send all 3 of them. Okay, all 3 support ultimates at once. I don't know if they should have done that.
Yeah, we don't want to stack those here, and a lot of these kills going to the way of the Whalers. So LucidScience did fall, so their main aggressive feat is falling. A good grab here actually managed maybe to hold this if you are Magna Ventus.
Yeah, they definitely have a chance there. Omiske trying to get a boop off the edge, not currently succeeding in doing so, but is making space for his team, and there's a couple of kills, exactly what they needed in overtime. I don't know who's going to be in a position to really block this. I don't think anybody. I think Magna Ventus is going to take the first point. And that was crazy. Like, I thought that the New England Whalers were playing very commandingly, even when they were on defense or offense. Just, it felt like they were setting the pace. But it didn't matter in the end because the Magna Ventus were able to get so many kills when they needed them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been chaotic, to say it from the least out of this. But pushing in that last fight, the key thing there was that the Whalers kind of got a bit, not greedy, but got in their egos a little bit. Honeybadger jumps off the map in celebration, and without the break there, they were able to find that opening. So now, as we go over to Ruins, and we see that, the Clown Fiesta composition, the Hammond and the Pharmacy pushing out here. So they need to play this aggressively, try and find these kills before this point unlocks, and we actually see the Whalers going back to spawn to switch something in response. Maybe it's some Clown Fiesta of their own.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they saw and why what they saw caused them to change up their comp, but that is basically them giving up the point. Magna Ventus is going to get these first little percentage points, which is going to give them the advantage on this map, which they already have. So it'll be interesting to see. I hope whatever swaps they did, which appears to be swapping a Lucio for a Mercy, I hope it's worth it. But for the time being, they're not really getting much done. This defense, I mean, both teams are just building ultimates at the moment. Nobody's really trying to flip the point right now. Everyone's sticking together. BoostedEGirl, the first one to fall to Offtank's Widowmaker, which is what you want to see at this stage.
And Lucid managing to find Offtank of his own. So with that space, both Reds coming out. We're at full capacity here, a 6v6. Zoros doming Offtank, and the tree's coming through though. 2-punch melee kills. Gonna swing this just barely in the favor of Magna Ventus. Where I can finish that though. LucidScience finishing that with his own, and
oh man, did you see that? That was justice raining from above, very harshly, and that's gonna give the New England Whalers a free opportunity to group up and spawn.
Yeah, the gavel falling down from HKeyBroke there, but Honeybadger staying this backline in a good position to find Offtank here as he unknowingly walks away from almost certain doom back to the safety of his team.
Yeah, and there is a Sombra hiding behind, making life difficult for the Widowmaker. He isn't going to kill it off. It looks like Aduuuh managing to fall, but Offtank getting a nice pick on Sylph to equalize. And at 71%, even if the New England Whalers manage to flip this point, this may be the first time that Magna Ventus is able to get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, they are finding a lot of these kills. Now, the key factor is that they do have 2 important ultimates online. They have the EMP and they have the Hammond Minefield, so they can clear out his space on this point. throw the mines on there and deny them from getting back onto it. But it's hard to do when Honeybadger gets sent back into the spawn. So coming on at 95%, they actually have to fight this without their Somber EMP to start it.
Yeah, Hammond firing off. Oh, wow. I wouldn't touch the point if I were either team right now. That looks like a World War I trench in there with all of those mines. LucidScience not heeding my advice, walking onto the point and dying. Honeybadger trying to clear the point with a hack, but it doesn't look like hacking mines does particularly all that much. And LucidScience is going to get rezzed by Sylph. Justice raining from above again, and all these kills, once again, they're going the way of Magna Ventus. I think this is going to be their map.
Yeah, the scoreline is ticking away. So Magna Ventus finally able to get on the board here, making this a 5-1. And, you know, they have stuck to playing as best they can, playing out these scrims. We've seen as the scrim has progressed, the Whalers get a bit less and less serious, less and less tryhard, but Magna Ventus, having the more competitive mindset, does not want to go out without taking a map, without showing it through. So even though we haven't seen the best play from them, they have that good competitive mindset to continue growing in the future.
And more importantly, they show that they don't have to worry about fatigue. I mean, they've played 5 maps in a row. This is the 6th map. And despite that, they come out with a really commanding fight, and they manage to take the point 2-0. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to be going into this final push, this final map, even though the map's already over, doubly so. And interesting, we have a McCree. We have a lot of DPS on both sides. I love it.
Yeah, the pharmacy versus pharmacy, and Honeybadger showed off pharmacy for excellence, but not so in this case. HKeyBroke showing him up.
Yeah, HKeyBroke managing to get the first pick in that Pharah v Pharah fight, which gives his team the high ground, which is definitely helpful. Oh my gosh, that headshot on BoostedEGirl, that's gotta hurt. Oh my gosh, he booped Ryza into the pit. That was great. HKeyBroke is a one-man machine right now. I guess two-man. Mercy deserves credit too. But the other Pharah is back to play ball.
Despite HKeyBroke's dominance on this Pharah, they haven't had the space they need to get people on the point to really capture it. So the entire time the Whalers are pushing this aggression in, and they not only managed to take the point, only managed to hold it. So they're going to start building up a massive percentage here.
Yeah, no, I was too busy spectating HKeyBroke and all of his mad frags. The rest of the team wasn't able to hold the point particularly well, and so the Whalers are going to get a bunch of percentages on the point. They do not want to end this map 3-0. They want to get something on the board. They're not happy with everything they've got on the board already. Offtank doesn't have enough room to actually snipe because of this opposing Pharah just raining bazooka rockets down on top of her.
Yeah, HKeyBroke actually managing to distract them. So we have a pharmacy duel. The skies are dangerous and alone, and you never want to ult in a Pharah 1v1 because you become a sitting target. Honeybadger ending that very soon, and HKeyBroke, his body fell into the abyss, so you cannot res that in. This point is just going the way of the Whalers. They haven't been able to really find any space, and Noro going to be switching over to the Winston from the Wrecking Ball to try and get on here. They don't want to give this point up for free. They haven't managed to really touch it since before the point even unlocked.
Yeah, Honeybadger getting a bunch of free damage. She's brave enough to even fight a Widowmaker and does pay for it, but I think it's because she knew there was a free res coming up. I guess it's not free because that means they're not going to have it in this upcoming fight, but things are just looking so good for them. 87%, a couple of people shooting. Omiske going for the boop, not able to get anybody with it. And is going to get high-nooned for his efforts. Never meet McCree on a wide open field at high noon. And we're at overtime. LucidScience giving his team the bongos to help give them a bunch of damage. And now it's down to the red team to try and actually get in there, but there's not really anybody in a position to capitalize on anything really.
And it looks like they might be able to pull this back. It looks like I spoke too soon actually. So this point will unlock, and that is it. We are calling that GG's, going 5-1 in the favor of the Whalers.
Yeah, no, that was a good way to end it. Omiske managing to boop Orisa into the pit again. He got a lot of really decent boop kills on that particular map. And like I said, we've just played 2 hours of Overwatch, and Magna Ventus had to go through 5 maps without winning. That is really hard, and the fact that they didn't let that bother them, they just kept getting right back up, running out there, and taking Ilios, that's really good for them. And on the other side, the Whalers certainly can't complain. They won the first 5 maps, and on Ilios, I think they were taking that opportunity to try a bunch of crazy comps because they never really played what you would expect them to play. And I suppose they have that right, considering how many points they won in a row. So, Setko, who do you think was the player of the match, in your opinion?
I mean, that is a very, very hard question because you would say maybe LucidScience, but I want to highlight Mozser. I talked about his Ana a lot, but he was helping LucidScience with all those aggressive plays, and not only that, but you constantly saw him find that value out of everything Omiske has. You're walking, trying to walk to the point, bam, a sleep dart. You don't have a diva to walk in, and you die to poke. Or you find a 4-man grab, okay, here's a purple down your 1 HP Reinhardt. You have to back up, and that grab becomes negated. So managing to find so much value out of Omiske, I'm going to have to give that up to Mozser.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Mozser was definitely a good pick because you caught me. I was indeed going to talk about LucidScience and how he did such a good job setting up for his team. He gave them the range, he gave them the distance they needed to get anything done. He was never afraid to push in there. But you're right, he wasn't able to do that, or he was only able to do that because of his commanding support line. And Mozser was a huge part of that. Pretty much every time he played Ana, it caused the fights to go in his team's favor because Magna Ventus was never really prepared to fight an Ana in the situations that they had him. And so these were some pretty exciting 6 matches, but unless you have anything you'd like to add, I think we are done for today.
Yep, that is it. Thank you all for watching, and we will be back next Saturday with League Zero. Going to be Rio Redemption versus, oh, I forgot the other name of the team, but you'll find out then. A little bit of surprise. So thank you all for watching. With that, we're out.